And good evening, randomizer fans. Here we go tonight for a secondary tournament, Group P tiebreaker. 3 runners enter, only 1 will leave. ChopsDizel, Hacksaww, and SirBeaterofArse. My name's Vatasia, happy to be here, and joining me tonight I have Amatsu DF, also from Group P. How are we doing tonight, Amatsu?
Pretty good, actually, and this race promises to be exciting. All 3 of these people, kicked my butt a little bit in the group, but that's okay.
Also joining us, also from Group P, so we have all of Group P here together, Raspberry Floof, who won outright, beat everyone in the tournament. Raspberry Floof, she will be our tracker. Shout out to Raspberry, who's going to be putting in quite a bit of work doing a 3-way tournament, but doing work. Also, Felix the Cat, our restreamer. Big shout out to everyone here. This ought to be an amazing race.
Yes, and I believe we will be starting shortly, at least.
Should be here. We'll see a Dark Link. We have a Roy, and Hacksaww, I believe,
Has an intro screen.
Also Dark Link. Okay.
Oh. This is a very villainous race, then. Oh, here we go. Only $20 in Sanctuary. Not a good start.
Not typically, no. We'll see where these runners end up going. SirBeaterofArse taking the south of Kakariko route immediately, going to try to pick up some bombs south of the Grove. Meanwhile, it seems like Hacksaww is going to go north to check the first part of Escape, and we have our first map check. And Chops is going to head right on over and do the north part and check the ledge here. So 3 different route
versions already. And what will the magic tree give Hacksaww? Nothing of value.
Just some hearts. Meanwhile, SirBeaterofArse picks up some bombs early, and Chops is going to check what's on this ledge, and it's the Bloomerang.
The Agnum Dream could be dead already.
Oh, don't say that. It's far too early to say that at this point in time.
Well, most seeds say it's a dead dream the moment you hit go, unfortunately.
We're Ether immediately.
Well, I guess this race just got a little chilly then, didn't it? Because
Ether is okay. No, I'm gonna keep track of all the puns that the 2 of us do. This is gonna be amazing. Half magic for SirBeaterofArse in here. Yep, all 3 runners are sitting at 2-2 in the Group P race. All of them certainly capable runners, as both Amatsu and Raspberry Floof happen to know about. This is just, I'm really happy we were able to get all of you guys in here to participate in this race.
And then we have, I actually lost track of what I was going to say. Oh well, it can't be that important. Lost so much attention there that I missed what was in the library there.
Didn't look like anything important at this point in time. And Chops pulls the hammer. It's hammer time.
Yeah. Swing that hammer good. It's an adequate replacement for a sword at this point.
Only adequate. It does tempered sword damage, but the hitbox is kind of funky to deal with. But definitely they'll be able to make it a lot easier work at, for example, Mini Moldorm Cave with that hammer. So these runners are generally running over each other's steps at this point in time. Not a huge surprise. Kakariko,
the
of course.
blue mail from the bottle merchant as well.
That's a nice
Perhaps the
pickup.
only time that the bottle merchant hasn't blatantly mugged someone in this group.
That's not mugging. It's called capitalism.
Some people also call it life lessons.
So all three of our runners are in Kakariko Village, so we're all going to see them pick up both the hammer and likely the ether pendant, or medallion. So not a ton of route divergence up to this point in time, but hammer is at least one of the items that we need to get into the dark world. So we'll see where this ends up leading us from here.
Of course, they still need that valuable moon pearl before they can go to the dark world. Now all three of them have half magic, which, while it's not necessary to beat the game, it is most definitely an asset to have.
Absolutely. And look at this. Even after buying the blue mail off, our runners are over 600 rupees. This has just been Jerry Maguire Kakariko Village so far. Show me the money.
Yes, it seems that Kakariko Village in this seed is extremely wealthy.
So we'll get kind of our first few route diversions here to see where they go after Kakariko Village. We see SirBeaterofArse going north to check parts of the Lost Woods, of course, which isn't that far out of the way. We'll see if they end up going south to the standard routing where you get the dam, as well as Mini Moldorm Cave. We do have the escape portion, which has quite a few chests and could lead to something, especially when you have the hammer and can get through it relatively easy. Of course, we also have Sahasrara and Eastern Palace opening up as well. These runners in this do or die, win or go home tournament, we could see some interesting routing decisions for these guys.
Yes. Even for personally, I hope for a quadruped turtle rock in every race, so...
Are you a sadist or a masochist? Because that's just mean.
Of course, it's an extremely unlikely scenario to ever happen.
Extremely unlikely, but totally possible, because that's just how this logic works in version 26.
Oh, that's what's in the library. A sword upgrade.
Huh.
There could be a chance of early boots somewhere.
Now, it will be interesting if they end up routing a way to get those boots at another point, or once they have the boots, if they route that sword. If they have masters, I can certainly see them going out of their way to get tempered because it's such a huge upgrade. If they already have tempered and that's their butter sword, they may avoid it just to save some time.
Because the tempered is all you need. You can beat the game with the master sword, but the tempered makes the Ganon fight so much smoother. Meanwhile, we have Chops heading straight into Hyrule Castle, heading to where the uncle is to get his absolutely nothing.
Not even a good life insurance policy. Come on, Uncle, what do you have for
Hacksaww
us?
is heading straight for the dam. What exciting items could be in here for us?
These first few items are always interesting to see where they decide to go. All of these items and that don't require anything to get just open up and determine what routing decisions the rest of the runners have to take. SirBeaterofArse doing this first half of Escape meanwhile, so we might see some interesting routing choices here. I don't think he's even gone to Dam, so that's different and a little bit off the beaten path.
I blinked, but I just noticed that Hacksaww has the Moon Pearl, meaning he has Dark World access.
Not quite. Yes, still need a glove upgrade before we have
that, but almost has Dark World access. And yes, Magnon in chat, that is That is one of the scenarios that could happen theoretically.
So we'll see if this standard routing Hacksaww pulls a bottle. A little bit of love. The boots! A lot
I
of
had a
love.
feeling we would see boots early in this seed because of that sword in the library. Now we know that's what the logic is intending the players to get their first sword from.
Absolutely. So I imagine we'll see Hacksaww heading that way almost immediately. Being able to route both the bottle and that first sword together makes returning to Kakariko an absolute no-brainer. Meanwhile, SirBeaterofArse looks like he's heading down south. Chops is finishing up this part of Escape. We haven't found a whole lot, though.
No, this is...
this
oh
escape.
no, Hacksaww drops like a dead person. I don't know where I was going with that, but that is a setback, because if he wants to check out Ice Rod Cave, he's going to have to walk all the way back there.
You mean he was hacked up? Go on.
I will admit that it was pretty clever. But we gotta be careful with the puns. Too many is dangerous.
Yeah, we don't want to be punished.
Would someone else in chat like to be a co-commentator for this race? I'm looking for a new one.
Meanwhile, SirBeaterofArse does pick up his Moon Pearl and heading right over to Mini Moldorm Cave. We see Hacksaww immediately, as predicted, returning to Kakariko, checking Sick Kid and picking up his sword.
Yes.
Sword first, actually.
A sword in a bit over 10 minutes. That's not too bad.
This isn't version 26, is it?
Yeah, maybe this is like version 25. Now, where will he go from here? It looked like he was thinking for a moment.
I didn't see him actually check Sick Kid, even though he got his first bottle, so that's
It could have been a blinked and missed it thing.
I saw him run right by it, so missed opportunity.
He might be banking that Sick Kid has $1, as usual.
I mean, I don't like to rob a sick child of his money any more than the next person, but sometimes it's necessary.
Yeah, sometimes he has a sword of Evil's Bane for some reason.
Irradiated, and that's what makes him sick.
So that's why the Master Sword glows in some games.
Seems logical to me.
Looks like Chops is having a little trouble hammering the mini Moldorms, but looks like he's just going with high explosives instead.
SirBeater, meanwhile, checking Ice Rod Cave, didn't look like there was anything there, so...
Fake flippers, which... this is a logic break at this point.
Yeah, we'll see if he ends up finding anything here. The knowledge of 3 bombs on that island, then he's heading over to Hobo. This is kind of a standard logic break sequence that we see, and with Moon Pearl, I imagine he'll be heading up north through the whirlpool to check the waterfall ferry and see what Zora has for us.
But yes, the fake flippers is the easiest glitch you can do. All it requires is just lining up with the right pixel and jumping off into a ledge, and screen transitioning while in the water. It is frame perfect, but it is ridiculously easy to do.
I was actually amazed at how easy it was to do, and Hacksaww, actually, I think he died before he got that Zelda chest, unfortunately, taking a death to the ball and chain guy. That's unfortunate for Hacksaww. He's going to have to waste a couple more minutes heading down, check to see. Unfortunately, there's not going to be anything there.
These enemies are hacking away at our players. Hey, I thought that one was pretty good.
It's solid 5 out of 10. I'll
Aw.
give you. Chops following
Chat laughed at least. That's important.
and red mail with the sequence break by SirBeaterofArse.
Which
And
makes me
then he
wonder,
will-
where could the flippers actually be?
Well, could be interesting. Without those flippers, this is technically a sequence break, so we'll see what ends up happening. And ooh, did you see that?
It looked like a rod, but I couldn't quite make out which one it was.
It was indeed the fire rod, which means there's
The
going to be
Dreamer
some.
Quadra Dip TR is already dead. Triple Dip's still alive, I think. A life lesson for sale.
Ladies and gentlemen, let this be a lesson to you. Never do commerce with anyone with gills. You will be robbed.
Meanwhile, Chops is claiming his sword now.
Hacksaww heading into the dark part of escape, so he's
Yep.
going to navigate these dark rooms, which is also technically a sequence break.
This can be a very tricky dark room because of how it's laid out. But with a sword, he can navigate it far easier. He'll know where he is at all times.
Absolutely no ledges that you can fall down off of or anything quite like Aghanim's Tower, for example. So he'll be able to navigate just fine. Finding the treasure chest can be tricky, but not impossible.
Meanwhile, it looks like SirBeaterofArse is going to be heading towards his sword.
Yeah, Chops is heading back up north. I think he's going to try to run around and... oh, Chops ended up getting the lamp somewhere. What was that lamp?
The lamp? It's good.
Oh, so
Because SirBeaterofArse just got it.
Oh.
That means Hacksaww is missing out on something extremely important.
Unfortunately, Chops ended up going around thinking he can get into Dark World, and no.
It's kind of funny that we were just talking about that, and I forgot that you need the glove as well.
So
As Hacksaww heading back towards Ice Rod Cave.
Meanwhile, we see Chops heading over here to Sahasrara. We'll see what he's got in his garage.
Well, I can tell you that it's probably not a brand new car.
Probably, but this is randomizer. You never know. No, there's absolutely not a brand new car. We did not break anything, guys.
Other offend perhaps Chops' hopes and dreams of getting a good item.
Yeah, a whole lot of nothing.
Because Sazarsasaurus didn't really have too much.
Meanwhile, SirBeaterofArse navigating these dark rooms and getting another bottle, but he has the key, so he'll be able to go ahead and continue on and check what would normally be locked behind sequence, these back end of escape. Normally, you're not able to get these until you have the power gloves, but he's going to go ahead and be able to do these now anyway.
And I hope there's at least something exciting. It's a lot harder to commentate when the runners, unfortunately, are only getting money. Oh, a book? We are now literate.
I see a book. I see a book. I see boots. I see a fire source. I think he's going to be heading to desert here directly. Now, he won't be able to clear it unless he finds a glove upgrade in desert, but it may be pointing him that direction.
Also, Chops picked up the power glove. It might be bad, but in this case, it's good.
That is our Dark World access right now, so no Aghanim required at this point in time.
So, under 20 minutes, Dark World access, very good.
Hacksaww also doing the fake flipper glitch to get the red mail. Going to be disappointed, but we'll at least see that fire rod that's going to be up there. SirBeaterofArse going over here to Desert Palace. Chops is the only one who's dove into Eastern, and he's going to be rewarded because the longer it takes these guys to get that power glove, the more ahead he can get.
Yep. It give him more time to try every possible location.
Looks like Hacksaw's on his way over to Eastern. Still hasn't checked Stick Kid for that lamp yet.
And every second he puts that off means he's going to have difficulty in dark rooms. But it seemed like he got through the one in Hyrule Castle this time.
Yeah, at this point, it's not necessarily the dark rooms that will give him the problem. It's that if it's a fire source that's required, for example, Desert, or say for Tower of Hera. Flute? What?
We have a mobility steed, I guess.
SirBeaterofArse pulls the flute out of Desert. Okay.
Meanwhile, Chops got beat up by the monsters a little bit, but he manages to get the last item, but wasn't a good one.
And the other glove upgrade is in Desert. So
Ooh.
Both glove upgrades are available to our runners.
That's intriguing.
So that's definitely Dark World access. Ironically, that's Dark World access that's going to lead you away from the other glove, though.
Kind of funny in its own way. Meanwhile, with a fire source, SirBeaterofArse can beat this dungeon, and he's just going to head straight to the boss.
Might as well. It's going to be a little bit rough of a fight here for Landmolus with only Fighter Sword and Hammer, but he's able to clear it. It's a crystal dungeon. Might as well knock it out. More importantly, it's one of the 5-6 dungeons, so making his way towards the Pyramid Infirmary.
But it is interesting to see all three runners in wildly different locations right now.
At 20 minutes, they are just in absolutely different routing decisions and different runs. This is what randomizer is all about, ladies and gentlemen.
Ending up wherever, whenever. Meanwhile, looks like SirBeaterofArse is electing to use the fighter's sword. It's a longer fight, but it is easier to hit the boss with that than the hammer.
Yeah, you kind of have to get up close and personal with that hammer, and sometimes you can pay the price. There are not too many hearts up to this point in time, so probably doesn't want to risk the damage, even with red mail.
Oh, and all that for a burrito.
Meanwhile, Chops is going to check Hype Cave. Chat, real quick, is this going to be a Hype Cave or is this going to be a Dud Cave? What do you say, Amatsu?
A bit of both.
A bit of both. A C- cave?
Yeah. Okay, I guess, yeah, it's a C- cave.
I was going to say, Swagnet Shovel.
Cave of slightly below average.
We'll say the cave of meh.
Yeah, like it was a pretty meh cave. But it did have the bug net, so Agatu's swag is now possible.
And of course, that is absolutely mandatory and required, as we all know.
Yes, if you don't do it, you get disqualified. Same if you fail to open the validation chest. Oh, a piece of wood, basically, to block attacks with. So now the cave is definitely a dud cave.
Yep, that was all sorts of But it's a major location that they can check off their list. That SirBeaterofArse is following.
There are 5 items in Hype Cave. It would be foolish not to check it. Even if the odds are against it being good.
And SirBeaterofArse
he doesn't have
ran out of bombs.
Oh no. Oh no.
And the ironic part is
he might
6
come
bombs.
back to that too and lose even more time.
There are 6 bombs right on the other side of that wall too. That is so unfortunate for SirBeater.
But at least there's a bomb shop right here. I actually forgot the shop was here. Like, I know this is where you get the big bomb, but you don't usually buy bombs from that shop.
And we have our first Dark World map check. We have green at Thieves, and then Pod and Ice Palace are the other 2 pendants.
Very, very interesting. And also Crystal 6 in the swamp, or yeah, Swamp Bells. Meanwhile, Hacksaww going through Skull Woods. Taking care of those bad guys by opening the pit at the right moment.
So with those 3 pendants, I just did kind of a quick count. Pedestal seed hype, because it's never too early to start talking pedestal
shot
seed.
in Skull Woods.
Oh, that's nice. Version 26 still coming through.
Trying its best not to be a horrific seed so far.
That's nonsense. The people demand blood. We need something trolly.
And yet there's still many more items needed for progression at this point too.
Absolutely. Did you know, going through here, we already have the hammer. Bow is going to be required for pod, so bow can't be on the pedestal. We already know where the mitts are. We already have the hammer, so we know flippers for Ice Palace can't be on the pedestal. Fire Rod or Bombo, so one of those 2, but everything else is possible on the pedestal at this point in time. We could see a mirror pedestal. We could see a King of Samaria pedestal. We could see anything that opens up Turtle Rock or Misery Mire on the pedestal. Ice Rod, of course, is a favorite.
I was just about to say that, because that can be there.
And if they find Bombos, Fire Rod is still a possibility, because you can get through Ice Palace with just Bombos. So
the mirror could also be on the pedestal.
I'm really hoping for a mirror pedestal. That would just be amazing.
Amazingly trollish, you mean?
No, and they said Ice Rod is on Zora Ledge. So yeah, there was one rod on the ledge. I don't know if it was Ice Rod or Fire Rod. It looked like Ice Rod to me as well.
But also, well, it was a little hard to tell, so... But that also means that potentially the Fire Rod could be on pedestals then.
Yup. I'm going to initiate the commentator's curse, ladies and gentlemen, and let everyone know This is my 29th race I have commentated between the main tournament and the secondary tournament.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you. I have not yet seen a pedestal seed on anything I've commentated. I think we're due.
Neither have I, actually, in the, I think I've commentated 10, I want to say. Might be a little less.
Yeah, I think we are absolutely due.
We didn't even really comment on it, but Chops has Titans.
Yep, first to Titan, so he'll unlock quite a bit here.
Yeah, the entire game world is pretty much accessible almost, other than Eastern Death Mountain. I imagine eventually he'll get that hook shot. Meanwhile, Hacksaww right in the middle of Thieves Town. Thieves Town is a pendant dungeon, but he is right there, and there could be an important item in it.
And as we've seen in this version 26 logic so often, if it's version 26, do your pendant dungeons. Absolutely.
Yeah. You might not have to clear them, but at least check the items. Chad is asking, where did Chops sign the Titan's Myth?
Well, one of the glove upgrades was in Eastern. The other one was in vanilla location in Desert Palace. So
the odds of that are pretty low.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a lot of early glove upgrades, but seeing them both back to back there was pretty nice here. SirBeaterofArse taking a death here.
Oh no. But it might have been intentional.
It did look like it was intentional. He was trying to back out of the Skullwoods area.
I'm surprised he's not taking this opportunity to potentially do a pedestal check.
No mirror.
Oh, I forgot about that. There's so many scenarios in this game that it's very easy to overlook one possibility like that. That you need, like, a mirror to cross dimensions.
Yeah, this is certainly interesting to try to keep up with this triple seed here.
Chops is going to keep up with two people sometimes.
Yeah, meanwhile, Chops is going to follow the logic, see where the boots and the Titan's bits are leading him. So he's checking King's Tomb for just some bomb upgrades.
That king liked his bombs, I guess.
He had an explosive personality.
Okay, that one was pretty good, actually. But I'm still mad that you came up with it first.
That's how puns work. You hate them because you didn't think of them first. Pretty sure.
Meanwhile, looks like Hacksaw's getting through Thieves Town pretty easily. The red mail makes him pretty much impervious to anything these opponents can throw at him.
Chops setting up his swag duck, getting that going.
We got some swag duck and chat. I believe he's the first to actually unlock the duck as well.
SirBeater has the flute, but I don't think he's actually unlocked it either. So, interesting there.
He might be hoping that mirror is somewhere in here, so he can effortlessly just mirror right back to Kakariko.
That's fair. It's worth noting as well, while Hacksaww is the only one, well, Hacksaww and SirBeaterofArse are in Thieves Town, it is the green pendant. So in addition to the normal 4 items, you get to that 5th item with the green pendant.
If you even bother going back to redeem it, anyways. I have seen a few races where they grab the green pendant and then just never end up making their way back there.
That is unfortunate that they do that. But yeah, I've seen the same thing absolutely happen.
Were you just as paying as much attention as I was to the blind fight there?
It was a relatively quick blind fight. I mean,
There might be quicker, but that was pretty quick.
blink and you'll miss it. You might be blind. Okay, that was pushing it.
Yeah, just a little. But yes, Fee's Town is down. And that is the first dungeon for Hacksaww to be completed successfully. But I think Chops has a pretty good lead right now with those Titan myths. The other two seem to have been sent in completely wrong directions.
Absolutely. I don't know if I'd go so far as to say lead. I do like to use the term advantage because it could just take one item that Hacksaww or SirBeaterofArse finds and it ends up giving them the advantage in return. Lead,
This is true.
I generally reserve until we're in go mode.
That is actually a very good point, and a good way of looking at it.
Magnon in chat asks, how many other tiebreakers are scheduled? There are 3 all today. One started just a half hour before us over on Randomizer Mania 2, and there's another one scheduled, I think, at 11 o'clock this evening on one of the channels. So 3 of the secondary group tiebreakers are all scheduled today.
And I think there's a possibility of another tiebreaker occurring if someone wins. Like, I think there's still a few regular races left, isn't there?
I honestly think all the regular races are done.
Oh.
We're just in tiebreakers this week for secondary. But I do want to go ahead and plug, while we still can, the primary tournament on this Saturday at 3 o'clock Eastern. 32 men walk in, and women, and non-binary folk. I don't want to exclude anyone. 32 enter, only 6 leave. It's a major...
Yeah, that's going to be a really good race. I can't even imagine the commentary skills needed for that one. Also, Felix has corrected us. The next tiebreaker race will be at 10 p.m. today, actually.
Yeah, it'll either be here or Randomizer Mania 2. So one of the 2 channels will host it. We're still figuring things out. Meanwhile, SirBeaterofArse also making quick work of blind.
And meanwhile, Hacksaww is in Death Mountain, leading an old, senile man to his home. Like, you probably would have to be kind of senile to live on a mountain called Death Mountain, surrounded by things that want to murder you. Oh, the bow!
But you know what? He gives you value there. That's a great pickup there by Hacksaww.
That gives Hacksaww an advantage in his own way.
Yep, he'll be able to go up here, check Spectacle Rock. He doesn't have the mirror, but he does have the hook shot, so he'll be able to go over to Paradox Cave, check 8 locations over here. This is kind of big for Hacksaww, although SirBeaterofArse is right on his tail.
Meanwhile, Chops, he needs to head to Death Mountain to maintain his advantage with those Titans.
Just a single item can
Yes, that's all it takes sometimes.
Yeah, that's all it is.
That's the entire race. It isn't until they're in Ganon's tower where everything is relatively set and who will probably win.
And even then, you know, if it's close, a right side, left side gamble ends up changing it. So you never know.
Now even our streamer is doing puns. Good grief.
Slow clap, Felix. I'm going to read this out. And with that, the man has bowed out of the game. Well done, Felix. Slow clap for you, sir.
Well, the 10 arrows, and I think Hacksaww was a little upset at that mini Moldorm there.
He's just dodging everything he throws at him.
Well, unfortunately, this cave, which... Do we have a fancy name for that cave that Hacksaww is now leaving?
Yes, this is Paradox Cave,
Oh,
because...
yeah.
Yeah, because despite being on a lower level, you drop down into a higher level where you got... It's weird.
Somehow.
The programmers of this game back in the early 90s just like to mess with us.
I'm pretty sure it was just a small design error. Like, the game was probably already done, and they might not even noticed it. And the average player probably doesn't notice it either.
Well, we'll see how long it takes Chops to go ahead. That's the one thing about these Titans mitts. Because he has the Titans mitts, it may route him in different directions and avoid going up to Death Mountain, which, as we happen to know right now, is the play to make to get the bow, which is absolutely vital.
Yes, it's needed to beat this seed. In fact, it's needed to beat the game, because there's mimics in Ganon's tower. Oh, Chops is heading into Misery Mire area.
Yeah, this is interesting.
It could still be a good play. There could be something important here.
It'll give him knowledge to see what will be required, and it looks like it was the Quake Medallion, if I saw it right.
That will shake this race up.
Well done. But otherwise, Mire Shed not having anything of value at this point in time.
The only thing he gained out of that was knowledge, unfortunately. Which is valuable in its own right.
Yeah, Hacksaww unfortunately tried to get the restroom break going, but failed at that point. Has to go down here to the basement of Tower of Hera because of the item locations. And Chops finally heading up to Death Mountain, so he'll be picking up his bow directly.
And Bennett, but he also, due to the Titans, has access to Dark World Death Mountain, which gives him, like, what, another 6 chests to look at? 5 or 6.
6, and if there's something valuable on the floating island, 7.
But he doesn't know have that the mirror yet, so...
Yeah. Knowledge, at any rate.
So he has 6 potential chests he can get to right this second just in the Dark World, plus whatever he finds here, which isn't too much, unfortunately. Oh, and he might do a medallion check on Turtle Rock just for additional knowledge.
Yep, no Master Sword, unfortunately, but all these runner... No, Hacksaww can't check that tablet. He has not yet gotten the book.
And yes, Chops is making all the right moves. He might be reading this seed correctly. Which is something not everyone can do.
Nope, there's a degree of luck, and that's, I think, part of what makes randomizers so attractive to a lot of us, is that you can be the best, most technical expert in this game, and at the end of the day, there's a degree of luck that comes down to it, making your routing decisions.
Yes, that is the beauty of randomizer. It comes down to your skill, knowledge, and luck in these races. Oh no, Hacksaww falls down the pit. Trying to sneak by the terrain there. Well, this fight should be a pushover for Hacksaww. The hammer hits as hard as the tempered sword, even if it's a little harder to aim. And thus, Hacksaww avoids the faster phase of Moldorn. And gets... well, he got another heart container. That's not so bad.
We're at 44 minutes right now, and we're at, 13 hearts. This is quite the healthy seed, all things said.
Yes. Oh, SirBeaterofArse seems to be having a little trouble hitting that switch. But he got through. I think Tower of Hera is really the only dungeon that uses those switches extensively, and then you only see them a few times later on in other dungeons.
I tend to prefer, and this is kind of a design decision, if there's ever a Zelda Maker like there is Mario Maker, using them kind of sparingly like you do in Ice Palace, to where they're not overbearing to that point. I tend to prefer that rather than the all-in of Tower of Hera.
Oh. 3 bombs in the Ether tablet, so Chops will not be going back there. Meanwhile, Hacksaww is heading straight to Eastern Palace. He has all the tools he needs to beat it. This is the time to clear it.
Solid play, particularly when you know that Pod is a pendant and you don't necessarily have to go in there. So, rock solid play at this point in time.
Meanwhile, Chops hopefully will be able to get that bathroom break by setting things up here. And he does it. He can rest and relax, get a drink, stretch his legs.
So we see Hacksaww and Eastern making quick work, moving his way through here. He's already been in here once, so not going to find anything too interesting, but we'll be able to clear it out now. We'll see where SirBeaterofArse ends up going after this Death Mountain play. I don't think SirBeater has actually been into Death Mount or Desert yet, which is where that other glove is going to be.
Well, SirBeater has been in Desert Bells.
Oh, he just hasn't been in Eastern?
Yes, because, as you can see, he's beaten in Desert.
Oh, right.
Which is kind of funny, because both of the players that still have the Power Glove, they have the opposite one that the other has. But Hacksaww can't get in there yet because he doesn't have the book. Like, he can't get into Desert. And that's a major problem.
And refresh my memory, where was Book again?
In the escape passage where you have to bomb or bonk through the wall.
Oh, right. Okay. So it's definitely gettable. SirBeater deciding to go into Pod, maybe hoping that the mirror is going to be in Pod so he can mirror over and get Eastern done immediately after the fact.
A good play. And there are 5 chests in Pod? With items? Or is it 6?
I believe it's 5, and it is largely backloaded. So having the bow ends up making a lot of sense, because only 3 chests have the possibility of having a bow or anything that would unlock bow for you. So Pod has some interesting logic in version 26 right now, where if you get bow early, it makes Pod more important to get.
And what will Starsorcerer have?
I believe we've already checked it. It's a whole lot of nothing.
I'm pretty sure Hacksaww would prefer him to have actually given nothing over to it.
And SirBeaterofArse does turn in the green pendant while he's there and just gets an arrow upgrade.
But he also managed to complete another heart container, so it wasn't a completely wasted trip. Nothing for progression, but more hearts means less death. I don't think he's died once so far, other than... Well, he did take an intentional death, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. And we have seen some other deaths that go on here, so certainly anything to help at this point.
Meanwhile, Chops is using a mix of weaponry to defeat Moldorm. Using his sword... Oh no, he fell. I was about to say he was using the sword to keep him on the platform, but it didn't turn out that way. And SirBeaterofArse now has the Titan's mitts. And he might be kicking himself at this point because he waited so long to come here for that.
Well, as much as he's kicking himself, imagine how Hacksaww is going to feel. He's opting to do pod. Yeah.
Meanwhile, Chops is trying again on Moldorm. Moldorm is a very trollish boss, however. He can easily knock even a skilled player.
Oh, that's 2 knockdowns on Chops.
Oh no, this might as well be 2 knockdowns the way he's falling. Third. Oh, the mirror in pod. Is Hacksaww even going to bother staying in this? Oh, well, he still has items to find. There are still potential progression items in here.
Yep, and you got the bow, you got the hammer. Might as well go ahead and clear it out.
Plus,
nothing's stopping you.
Don't know what's on pedestal yet.
So ironically, we're all talking about what Hacksaww absolutely needs to do, and he proves us all wrong.
By doing something completely crazy and unexpected.
Well, and in an elimination match, sometimes crazy, unexpected, and stupid is what wins you the game.
All 3 of these people are fighting to stay in the tournament. And only one of them can move forward.
So, ChopsDizel versus Moldorm, round 3. Fight!
And it's almost become round 4 a few times there.
Ooh.
But, as I said, this boss can be extremely trollish. He has no discernible pattern. He just moves however he feels like it.
I think he is the unofficial mascot of Randomizer.
But Chops takes him down at long last and collects another crystal. In terms of crystal progression, he's at the same page as SirBeaterofArse, but... and Hacksaww, I forgot that. They've each done 2 crystal dungeons, haven't they?
Yep, they've all done 2 crystal dungeons. The difference therein being is that ChopsDizel is behind in terms of the pendant, although not a ton of value coming from that pendant in Thieves Town. So...
Oh, the Master Sword! And
the cane!
What? What are those? 2 progression items right next to each other? What is this scene?
Ladies and gentlemen, let me remind you, if it's version 26, do your pendant dungeons.
Yes, remember, always do your pendant dungeons. Because it felt like in the earlier races of this, like in the qualifiers, there was almost a stigma against doing pendant dungeons.
Well, and I think a lot of us were used to earlier versions where the pendant dungeons either didn't have a ton of value or you could, stand to risk avoiding it. And validation arrow.
Well, you need that to beat the game, so how else are you going to beat Ganon? Now even the chat's coming up with puns.
Well done. Version 26 is very dependent. Oh, that's horrible.
Extremely.
Also, I can't see your name. I actually have to highlight your name in order to see it. X-Keeper.
That's a slightly bad text color to use for your name, I think.
So we know Pod has all the value at this point in time. Hacksaww making the right call there. He hasn't been able to go into Desert yet.
Oh, Chops has Master Sword as well. There's a sword upgrade in Dark Death Mountain.
Hey, that'll do.
It's likely our runners will have Tempered Swords at the minimum for once they get around. And we have Quake on Turtle Rock. So we have a double Quake, I believe.
Double Quake sounds good to me. And Hacksaww saving and quitting because he double-checked all of his items and says, you know what? I don't need to kill this Helmasaur boss.
Nope, he drops nothing of value. That said, this could still be a pedestal seed. He might regret that decision.
ChopsDizel, meanwhile, picking up Quake in the Hookshot Cave. So finding value in that Dark Death Mountain.
He has access to a great deal of places. So he does need to go find that at Cane of something. Whatever its name is.
The Cane of Ryu is what I'm going to call it from now on.
Oh, okay. I'm sure that's its name.
Feels like it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So Hacksaww trying to press his advantage by picking up mirror locations between the mirror and the cane. He's going to try to press his advantage here for different locations. He knows that was kind of a risk going into Pod, it being a pendant dungeon and going in there so early.
Spades. He found literally every item he was basically looking for, other than an ice rod or fire rod, whatever one's not on Zora's Ledge.
Meanwhile, Chops is also heading into Pod, so he might find some advantage. SirBeater, meanwhile, looks like he's going to go check Spite Cave, which I think technically is going to be a sequence break. He does not have an invincibility item to get through here.
But he does have a potion. I believe he has a blue goo.
Chad is out punning us. We're going to have to step up our game.
Yes, like, we can't fall behind like this. We're commentators.
All right, Hacksaww choosing to check on Pyramid. Only 50 roops there. Meanwhile, Chops...
Even Ganon has a lot of money. Need a seed.
There was a sword in Spike Cave. We have all of our swords.
That means it's pretty likely that we'll see a golden sword on at least one of our runners.
Absolutely. Feels like it.
Ganon's gonna be a piece of cake.
Well, two of our runners have red mail, and we're getting ready for being able to have up to butter sword. All we're missing is silvers, and this is going to just be absolutely fantastic for our runners. So the question becomes, because we have kind of an interesting race at this point in time, Hacksaww still hasn't done that escape. Oh, looks like he's going there, so he's finally going to get the book. We'll see when he ends up.
It's all starting to fall in place for Hacksaww.
So if Hacksaww ends up going to Desert from here, he'll be able to get his Titansmiths and be on pretty even footing with all said and done. Chops does have 3 crystals now done, although SirBeater has 3 as well, and Tempered, but they're both, I mean, oh goodness, I'm just looking at all the items here.
There are quite a few.
One thing I know these runners are still looking for is flippers, because flippers will lead to at least 1 rod that's mandatory. Again, we're not sure if it's fire or ice rod. I think it's ice rod at this point in time.
It looked
But even then,
last time someone was there.
does Hack have swamp access? No, we're still looking for flips.
You can't. If you can't swim, you're not getting in there.
You know, the water dungeon, you kind of need to be able to swim. That's kind of standard for any Zelda game.
There's no way to fake flippers in there, unfortunately. Because that requires a screen transition that cannot be done from the spot that you need to go in the water. Meanwhile, SirBeaterofArse is checking a chest and getting a small key. Isn't the big key there in vanilla?
Chops is going to get his mirror right here and go, oh, I can mirror out and don't have to back out now, thank goodness.
They're still going to go forward. I believe a sword upgrade was in here as well, so Chops will have a tempered sword shortly.
So Hacksaww getting ready to pick up his Titansmith, and it's just an amazingly close race despite all the varying routing that we've done. Hacksaww kind of had some interesting early routing. He made the first dip into pod to get the cane and the mirror, although Chops is in there and picking up all those items right now. SirBeater hasn't done pod yet, but he's in Misery Mire, making an early dive in there.
But he doesn't have the cane, so he can't beat it.
Yep, so SirBeater's certainly taking a risk here, probably the biggest risk we've seen so far in this match.
Unfortunately, we already know it's not going to pay off. Potential, you could still get items, but you won't be able to beat it.
Yeah, he might get items. He may not get the right item though.
Yes, catfish was checked, but I can't remember what was there.
3 bombs.
I guess our runners are lucky the catfish didn't decide to use the bombs on them.
Well, he threw them. The problem is he didn't light the fuse, or the fuse got wet, so didn't do a whole lot there. And SirBeater finds the value, gets the fire rod,
So that
in
means
Misery
Ice
Mire.
Rod is definitely on the ledge then. That mystery is now solved.
The only item we are missing that no one knows where it's at is the flippers. We are one item away, not from go mode, but from no mode. That's where we know where everything is.
Meanwhile, it looks like Hacksaww is heading straight to Misery Mire, but he's not going to be able to get in.
He does not have Quake.
But you can check Checkerboard Cave, which I do not believe anyone else has checked yet.
That's a very valuable option right there. SirBeater, meanwhile, turning in his mushroom to the witch, seeing what his drug trade gets him. Just some arrows.
Drugs are cheap in Hyrule.
Well, you can pick it up off the forest floor, of course.
And just nothing in Checkerboard, which is a little disappointing.
Chat pointing out Hacksaww just literally just stopped going into desert. He
It's
got
an
the
odd
items
move,
and left.
But he is likely just going to combo it with Misery Mire. Now we just have to... Oh, Hacksaww is checking the Froggy. A good play since he has the mirror.
Yep, I'm gonna turn in Jeremiah, see what his former friend gives him. Jeremiah was the bullfrog, was a good friend of mine. Ha ha ha.
I don't get it.
It's an old song. I'm sorry. Creedence Clearwater Revival. Anyway, so going to see what the Smith ends up having for us. And our fourth bottle looks like. So lots of bottles available.
Yeah, they can stock up on as much blue goo as they want.
Well, we saw Chops just stocked up on 3 of it, and he is going to Misery Mire.
He does not want to die to anything.
So SirBeater finishing off Skullwoods and getting another crystal. Going to check to see. He still hasn't dove into Pod for that mirror yet, but he's got 4 crystals already done. He's leading the crystal count at this point in time.
But also the dungeons completed count in general, since he did complete the Green Independent dungeon.
So we know that Chops is going to end up finding value here in the fire rod, and I can't imagine he would do anything else but go over to Skull Woods to finish that off as well.
Pretty solid play, yeah.
SirBeater, it looks like we're going to have a pedestal check.
Finally. We've been waiting for this, folks. What could it be?
Well, it's interesting because the only thing that we absolutely need that we know of is the flippers, and we know it absolutely cannot be the flippers because you need that to get to Ice Palace. So just an arrow storage upgrade, and we could kind of deduce that on our end.
Well, the dream of pedestal seed is dead here.
A little bit dead.
And all the dreams die in this seed.
Oh!
How did we miss
Hacksaww!
that? Us commentators are not paying too much attention sometimes.
It's been a long day, but either way, wow, so we are officially in Commentators Go mode, also known as No Mode. We know where everything is. Now it's just a matter of sending our energy different directions. Hacksaww.
However, if these items, Hacksaww should be sent in the correct direction. If he follows the logic correctly and interprets it right, he should be sent towards all the items he needs at this point.
He should, but for example, he's doing Swamp Palace right now, and he doesn't know where Fire or... Well, he should know where Ice Rod is.
Unless he's forgot. Which would be very saddening.
Which could be. Especially not knowing where Fire Rod is means he's probably going to full clear this dungeon. Now, full clearing Swamp Palace can be a little bit longer than go moding it. Now, for example, if Chops, once he ends up getting the Fire Rod, once he finds the flippers, he'll be able to go mode this and just blaze through it so much faster.
And yes, chat, the Ice Rod is on Zora's Ledge, which means Hacksaww is the only person who can get it right now.
SirBeater, meanwhile, also making his way through Pod right now, so he'll be able to find the value here.
I'm trying to think of something to say, but my brain's just kind of drawing a blank, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm
But
kind of
all
in
three of
sensory
these
overload.
Yeah, like there's three. I can't even imagine how those people that do 4 races manage to commentate it successfully.
So Chops finds his Fire Rod. So just to keep in mind, we have 3 different runners in 3 different dungeons.
Oh, and there's the Fire Rod. Of course, I already knew where it was, but someone else has it now, which is good.
That is interesting that it looks like Hacksaww is forgoing the left side of Swamp Palace, at least for now, hoping he finds all the locations.
Like, there's only 1 chest over there, isn't there? Or is it 2?
There's 2.
Of course, he might be banking that maybe the boss will drop an item.
It's possible. I haven't seen him pause yet, so I don't know, and he won't pause until after the boss. So I don't know how many items he's gotten here yet.
Unfortunately, if I had a tempered sword, it takes a couple slashes to kill these little puffballs.
Yeah, it can be a little bit frustrating with Mastered Sword, but I think this is how the vanilla game intends you to do it.
I think this is like the second dungeon you usually end up in.
So Hacksaww completing his Argus fight. Meanwhile, Chops is getting ready to start his Vitreous fight, and SirBeater is about to find all the value here in Butter Sword and the Cane of Samaria.
And thus he'll be in, he'll have to find the flippers before he's basically in go mode. Because once he has the flippers, he'll probably immediately double back for the ice rod.
Yep, he'll know exactly where his go mode item is, and then he'll be ready to go. Same with Chops. All he's looking for is the flippers, and as soon as he finds them, those flippers on Bombos, though, that's an out-of-the-way location. We'll see how long it takes for both Chops and SirBeater to get to that direction. On the same note, we'll see how long it takes Hacksaww to dive into Misery Mire, because he doesn't have Quake yet.
Where was Quake? Like, it slipped my mind where it was a... Oh, Hookshot Cave, wasn't it?
Yep, Hookshot Cave.
Meanwhile, it looks like Chops is about to complete his fight. Hedda still has an arrow upgrade.
And it's interesting, this could come back. I mean, it's not going to necessarily come back and haunt him that we know of, but Hacksaww could be thinking, oh, I just got the other 5-6 dungeon. I skipped doing the other 5-6 dungeon in Desert.
I really hope he thinks that, because... Yeah.
I'm glad you and I are on the same page there. SirBeater, meanwhile, with Butter, going back into Misery Mire and going to take out Vitreous while he's here.
It looks like he's also stocking up on more blue goo. A nice choice on Chop's part.
He's used quite a few potions, but, you know, I always say, if it takes 30 seconds if you have the flute. Go ahead and do it if you have the money. Where is Chops going?
I don't know. Didn't he already get swindled by Zora?
I thought he did too, and he doesn't have flippers yet.
Oh no. This isn't the right way, Chops. Turn around. We could have swore he visited Zora, but we might be wrong.
I mean, I lose track of people at 3 races, so you never know. Hacksaww, meanwhile, doing Desert Palace now, after he's been here, he's going to get routed over to the Pyramid Ferry.
Raspberry Flute has corrected us that Chops has never been the Zora until now. Because he never fake flippered.
That's why he still has the blue mail and the others have red. That's right.
The mystery is solved. Meanwhile, the eyeball boss goes down.
Yeah.
Vitreous. Okay. Yeah.
Yep. So SirBeaterofArse now with his 5th crystal. He's right there. I think at this point in time, he's got Swamp and Turtle Rock. I mean, he knows where Ice Rod is, so I doubt he'll go into Turtle Rock early, but I wonder if wondering if the flippers are in Turtle Rock requiring a double dip. And I think that's the play he's making.
Oh no. It is unfortunately not going to be the right play, but he could still find something interesting in them. Just nothing progressional.
No, that's unfortunate. He's certainly leading in the dungeon count and the crystal count. We know where the item he needs to really go, and this is not the right direction. Meanwhile, Chops is heading over here into Skullwoods.
It's still amazing that they're still quite massively route diverged from each other. Oh, was that Silvers that I spotted there on Chop's part?
Nope, just a 5-arrow upgrade.
Look kind of silvery on my end.
Yep. SirBeater heading up to Turtle Rock, and he might find something. He's going to be disappointed. Now, the one way this could benefit him is if he's full clearing this and ends up finding silver somewhere in here, and that could save him on the Ganon fight. But we know the item that he needs in terms of the flippers is located on the Bombos tablet, which most people don't check until you're going into Swamp anyway. So this is kind of it's kind of a trolley location for flippers, really.
Yes. But not the most trolliest item location I've seen so far.
Hacksaww just getting bodied in this Moldor, in this Mothula room. And I did not see what was on the Paula Deen ferry here.
It
Doesn't look like,
unfortunately.
Didn't look like anything important, though.
I'm sure chat would let us know if it was important.
And is Hacksaww making the Turtle Rock play too without any rods?
Oh no. That's the worst possible play.
This is a long way for one treasure chest.
Like, it's pretty much the ultimate gamble.
It is. He might be I mean, oh gosh.
Again,
Oh, well, he's got to get Dark Death Mountain anyway. So, okay.
yeah, he hasn't been to Dark Death Mountain yet, so...
SirBeater gets me all excited about the Turtle Rock play, and I think everyone going up to Dark Death Mountain doing the same thing. My goodness. So there's Hacksaw's Tempered Sword. Meanwhile, he'll be checking Hookshot. Chops is going to go over here and get his final bottle from Jeremiah. Now this is good for Chops because I think after he does this, he'll be able to get Gary's lunchbox, and that'll take him down towards the Bombos tablet if he routes all that together.
We can only hope that he does. If the chat's interested in him winning, send him your energy so he finds what he needs. Oh no.
Oh, and Hacksaww. That's unfortunate for
It
Hacksaww,
seems like
but
this seed so far, Hacksaww is having some difficulty with this seed. And yet his gambles have paid off. He is the only one with flippers for the moment, after all.
yep, we're just waiting for him to, because he has Quake now, so he knows he can go into Mire. Oh, well, he's over here. He's going to check Ether, I think.
Which is a good play, because if you're right there, checking a location is important. But we already know it's like 3 bombs or something.
Yeah, it's not a great location at this point in time, but worthwhile to check at any rate.
It only costs like 20 seconds to go check it from where he was. So.
He's also going to check Spike Cave and get his butter, so he's going to go from Masters to butter real quick.
It's strange how sometimes the sword upgrades get laid in the world.
So Chops heading down, going to turn in Gary's lunchbox here. Hacksaww gets his buttered. SirBeater not finding anything in the Mimic Cave. And this is going to be, unfortunately, a lost Turtle Rock gamble for SirBeaterofArse.
Indeed, there is no progression items to be found here. We know where everything is needed, where it is at this point.
I mean, I will say this about this version has trained our community to not fear the early Turtle Rock dive because it's happened so frequently that it's been needed.
But then a seed like this is thrown at our players, and checking Turtle Rock can be very disadvantageous.
And there's the flips for Chops. So Chops knows exactly what he needs to do. He's going to go over here. He's effectively in go mode. He knows where the ice rod is on the ledge. He's going to go over here to swamp, and he's just going to blaze through it. So Chops is, for all intents and purposes, in go mode.
If he remembers where the ice rod is. Which, he did just see it, so he's sure.
Yeah, he did just check it.
But it can be very easy to forget where an item is. There are over 200 item locations, if I remember correctly.
Well, SirBeater down to 1 heart.
Ooh,
And
but he did take the safety exit, however, so he'll be able to pop right back in and check that last chest.
that is incredibly lucky.
Oh, he has a fairy. Never mind.
That is the most disappointing 20 rupees I've ever seen.
Yeah, he seemed to hesitate there for a moment, like, why? Where is that ice rod? Or flippers, I mean. He knows where the ice rod is. I hope.
And looks like he's going to be doing just what we saw Chops do a little bit ago. He's going to go into the Dark World, probably check both Jeremiah, Gary's lunchbox, and that's going to lead him down to Bombos.
However, in that time, Hacksaww has pretty much caught up in terms of progression. Those slippers are a massive asset, after all.
Absolutely. And we'll see. This is going to come out to where we're going to likely see Hacksaww and Chops just about entering Ganon's Tower probably within a minute of one another, if not closer.
And yeah, if Felix. He may have flippers, but he did just get them, so clearing Swamp while he's right in the vicinity of it's always a good play. Even in the times it's a pendant dungeon in various seeds, it's a good idea if you're right there just to clear out its items.
So we'll see Hacksaww going through here. He's going to be picking up the big key shortly, and then the fire rod. Chops checking some additional chests here. Probably not going to do too much more. So while the other two have Butter Sword, Chops is going to end up with Tempered. Not a huge detriment, but it could make a difference if it's a close Ganon fight.
At this point, it could still really be anyone's game. They're all missing basically only a handful of items. Chops only is missing that ice rod, which he hopefully will go acquire.
Well, after this, he will only need Turtle Rock, so I can't imagine him doing anything but that. Meanwhile, Hacksaww, as soon as he picks up, he has his fire rod. Hacksaww in the same position where he just needs to, if he can remember where the ice rod was, it was quite a bit further back, but he will only need that once he finishes. Oh, no. No, Hacksaww still needs Skullwoods.
Oh, no. Still, there's always that chance.
There is. So at this point, Chops I think is...
or SirBeater might forget where the ice rod is somehow.
It's always possible. Weirder things have happened.
No, this does not look like a man who has forgotten where it is.
Although he does look like a man who's forgotten the most efficient pathing to get to Zora.
I think he realized he was running a little low on blue goo again. But it never hurts to stock up fully on blue goo. Like, even with the best gear in the game, some of the fights are difficult. Especially Ganon and his random hugs that do like 4 damage even on red mail.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Chops for doing that. It takes a certain level of understanding of your own playstyle to know that, hey, I'm going to tank some hits. I need this. And I know that some runners don't, they'll let their ego get in the way. It's like, oh, I can do this. And that's cost some people some games. So shout out to Chops for being able to understand his playstyle enough to go ahead and pick those up.
And Fender's players that just forget to get the blue goo. Regardless of their playstyle, sometimes you just forget, oh, I can get a very good healing item at a pretty good price.
Yep. So Chops officially in go mode now. Hacksaww getting his 5th crystal. He still has to go over to Skull Woods, but knows... I mean, he's effectively in go mode. He knows those items. Chops taking a risk, checking here, picks up red mail, so that's nice for him.
With that and 4 blue goos, he should be darn close to unkillable.
And here's SirBeater. picking up his flips. So he's going to go over and he's going to effectively go mode Swap Palace as well.
But yes, at an hour and 34 minutes in, we are in go mode for one of our players. And I believe Hacksaww is about to be in go mode as well.
All right, so Chops is heading over here to Turtle Rock now. He will, I mean, go mode Turtle Rock is not that fast. You think you can skip part of Laser Bridge once you know where all the keys are, but otherwise,
That's about it.
it's eh.
But still, no sign of the silver arrows, unfortunately. It could be in Ganon's tower, but if it's not, then they will have a much harder Ganon fight. And I hope that they've practiced their silverless.
The exact reason why I did not enter the tournament is because I was not confident in silverless. I hope that these three runners are more confident here.
Yeah, I'm not very good at silverless either. It is one of the harder tricks by far.
It is worth noting that while SirBeater is effectively go moding Swap Palace right now, that he has already completely cleaned out Turtle Rock, so he'll be able to just bypass a lot of it. All the doors are already open. He can just run right on through.
Yeah, this race is so good, there's not too much to say. It's that all three of these runners are doing pretty well. Even if...
Yeah.
But Chops has a pretty good position right now, I think.
Yeah. At this point, it's pretty easy to say that Chops does have the lead. And it's not advantage, it's lead at this point in time. I'm just trying to process everything again. It's...
it is a little overwhelming.
3 different runners, 3 different dungeons, 2 different bosses going on at the same time while the third is navigating. Yeah, little
Heck, I don't
bit
even
challenging.
think they've all been in the same location at the same time once during this race. They've almost always been somewhere unique.
Yeah, the route divergence happened almost immediately with these runners, so really excited to see how close this has been, even with all the crazy route divergence that we've seen from these folks.
It looks like Hacksaw's heading straight to Turtle Rock, because he's in go mode as well.
Absolutely. The only thing that's holding SirBeaterofArse back is he's going to have to run and get that fire rod, or the ice rod first. Then he'll be right there with them. We say it's a big lead, but if we're going to go through time, unit of time measurements, yeah, I mean, it's like 1 or 2 Ganon falls difference.
Or a GT gamble.
Or a GT gamble, yep.
Like Hacksaww could go left, Chops could go left, or right. If they both went left, it would be the same thing. like all three of them know that they have to win this to keep in the tournament. So they might do something unexpected here.
Yep,
In
and
fact,
they're
I
going.
think that's why we're seeing all this route divergence. They know that this is their last chance, and they have to do their absolute best, and that means making potentially dangerous gambles.
And we've seen the dangerous gambles, and
Some paid off.
Some paid off. Absolutely. I'm trying to find, kind of the focus point of what separated Chops at this point in time from Hacksaww and SirBeater, and the only thing I can come up with is that Hacksaww left Desert early, so he had to route that back together, which cost him a little bit of time. And then SirBeater had the Turtle Rock gamble, but otherwise, they've had pretty consistent, and I'm not going to say similar routing, but it's not been bad routing from any of them.
But it's pretty incredible. Like, for once, we're about to see them all in the same dungeon at the same time, which is a first in this race so far. Even if they're in different positions. Because no matter how much route divergence there is, it all convenes at the same spot.
Yep, Aga. And Chops has his key. He can bypass Laser Bridge almost entirely, so here he goes to Trinex.
Did SirBeaterofArse get the ice rod?
Yes, he did.
Because I was watching the other two and didn't notice if he did. Because if he didn't, that would be very saddening right about now.
Yep, but again, this is where SirBeater is going to bypass Hacksaww because all of this is already open for SirBeater. Oh, this is going to come down to the wire. All three of them are together. SirBeater giving Hacksaww a high five as he runs by him.
Oh, you gotta have a high five in these kind of things. And Trinex falls.
Absolutely well done there by ChopsDizel.
Which means, folks, it is time to begin making your guesses for which chest, or technically item location, the big key is at. Personally, tile room. I'm feeling mean tonight.
Just tonight, really?
Just tonight.
This has nothing to do with all three of these runners beating you earlier, does it?
No, nothing. Like I don't have a grudge or anything.
I'm gonna say that the fire bar room. It feels like it's 142. Bombos with flips was a little bit trolly, so I think it's gonna show mercy tonight.
Maybe a little bit of mercy. You never know. We have a couple of guesses in chat as well.
Meanwhile, SirBeater already at Trinex. He's just blasting through Turtle Rock.
He's only a few minutes behind Chops, if you think about it. Give or take.
All right, so Chops starts off on the right side, kind of a standard play here.
Looks like he's having a very good fight so far against Trinex.
Buttersword, Buttersword is gonna make quite the difference here in Ganon's Tower of all things.
But especially against Trinex here, where only a few slashes is enough to take that turtle snake thing down.
And Chops picks up the cane of Brian, the lag cane.
Maybe he uses it SirBeater a catch up.
Oh, that'll be interesting. He does kill Bob in the process because it was on the torch. Rip Bob.
Yes, rest in peace, Bob.
It looks like he picked it up.
I missed it there, but if he has it hit, I'm actually not sure what chest that was they opened due to.
That would be
That's no
chest
hiccup.
number 7.
Oh. Wait a minute, Felix, how did you know? Did you see the future?
Felix did the thing.
Like, using your psychic powers to guess the chest isn't allowed.
So it's going to come down with an early... Oh god, this is going to be silverless. So it's going to come down to execution on Ganon. These 3 are too close to one another. Execution through Ganon's tower and on Ganon himself is going to make the difference here.
Yes.
Wow, this is absolutely
This is pretty close.
everything you would want.
We have 2 Bob kills. And really, Hacksaw's not abysmally behind at this point. It is going to fall down to Ganon at this point, I think. Who will win? Fall down.
But ching.
Wow, X-Keeper is keeping quite the time tracking there for us.
Shout out to you, sir. That helps us out quite a bit.
3.5 minutes might sound like a lot, but anything can happen. The gauntlet could go wrong. Ganon can go wrong. Even Aga 2 can go wrong, really.
Yep. And, for example, we're seeing Chops struggle a little bit here in some of these rooms. Meanwhile, SirBeater is just being incredibly efficient with everything that he's doing. We could see SirBeater make up all of that time.
Oh, Hacksaww is doing a right side gamble.
Oh, that's gonna hurt for Hacksaww unless silvers are over here.
Oh, that too. But the odds aren't looking good for him. Meanwhile, the gauntlet has begun for SirBeaterofArse. It looks like he's doing pretty well initially. Like, that's the beauty of half magic right there. He can afford to just expend magic shots at will.
Absolutely. And the fireball is trolling the heck out of him in here.
I think SirBeater actually is having a bit of an easier time with the gauntlet than Chops did.
Absolutely. He's just flying through here. Man, it's going to be a close race. We're going to see how well they know their silverless strats, guys.
Unless it's in validation chest and they check it, but they might not. After all, we're almost 2 hours in at this point. They might be thinking, oh, I could be behind. I'm just going to skip everything I can get away with.
Or at this point, they could also be thinking that someone's right on their butt and every second counts, which is accurate.
I know that's how I feel every time I enter Ganon's tower.
So Hacksaww, finding his big key, will mirror out. No silvers, so ooh. Meanwhile, SirBeater
is scary, even with a golden sword.
SirBeater is just making incredibly efficient time here.
Looks like Chops had a bit of a problem, unfortunately, with the torch room.
You think he's tilted a little bit, getting a little nervous?
I think someone in chat earlier said that could come down the Chops' nerves working against him.
It's possible. And look at this, SirBeaterofArse in the same room passes Chops.
Oh no, the lead has been foully disrupted. Get through that door. Oh, you did. Okay, good. They are mere seconds apart at this point. It's going to come down to execution.
Yep, and Hacksaww playing the safety room.
But Chops regains a split-second lead by skipping the chest in that room. This is going to be an extremely exciting finale to this race. I can feel it.
No, my blood is pumped already for it.
Like I can just feel it in my chest.
So Chops enters the Troll Dorm room a little bit before SirBeater.
Oddly enough, using the lag cane strats to not fall. Oh,
simultaneous Troll Dorm.
But the sync was lost because Chops forgot to equip the hook shot first.
Oh, Chops! Oh, Chops!
I'm not sure who to root for, to be honest with you. Part of me wants to root for the underdog, however, Hacksaww.
Well,
the ice is trolling Chops pretty badly there.
Sir, we are commentators. We root for the seed.
Well, then the seed failed me because I wanted Quadra Dip Turtle Rook.
Okay. Getting really nice setups here for both of these runners. Chop seems to be having a little bit easier of a time getting all these Aghanims lined up together.
But SirBeater is getting some hits in as well.
This is absolutely going to come down to, I think, Fighter Butter.
That was so close to a double one for SirBeater. Oh, SirBeater has him down. He will be the first to fight Ganon. But Chops is right on his butt.
Oh, we're talking less than 10 seconds here, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my goodness. It all comes down to Ganon execution on Silverless. Yep. SirBeater has a little bit of an advantage with Butter Sword, and I know we said it wasn't a huge advantage back then, but when you're within 10 seconds, it's going to feel like a lifetime.
Yeah, like this already shows the differences between the two weapons, where Chops has to have an extra phase in phase 1, basically, due to the damage from the Tempered Sword. But I hope they've both practiced their silver. Wait, when did Hacksaww get silvers?
Hacksaww got silvers?
His icon's lit up on the tracker. Unfortunately, I don't think it'd do him much good, unfortunately, but he does have them, at least.
Last chest before Moldorm 2. Oh, you're kidding me, Raspberry!
Oh, both these runners are going to be very upset when Ganon says, "Did you find the arrows in my tower?" It looks like SirBeater has practiced his Silverless.
Yep, he's doing amazing right now, and he got the torch glitch here.
Very easy and important glitch, but it is a couple frames perfect, I think. because they go out pretty quickly. I think SirBeater only has a few more hits.
Oh, this is absolutely insane.
This is nerve-wracking. One wrong move, and it could be over for SirBeater.
And you're both of these runners. Who knows what's going through your mind right now?
Like, both Chops and Beater are very, very competent players, in my opinion. Oh, and
there we go, SirBeater.
With an official SLR time of 1 hour, 54 minutes, and 37 seconds, SirBeaterofArse moves on to the bracket stage.
Oh, and ChopsDizel is going to be right behind him here. GG, SirBeaterofArse. My God. What a race.
Yes, what a race indeed. That you win message is very much deserved.
So let's not tell him where the silvers are until we get Chops in here as well.
Good plan. Like, we might have like a double interview at the same time here, given how close Chops is to completing.
And I'm fine with that.
And SirBeaterofArse will be joining us in a second once he gets headphones.
And Hacksaw's going to have the fastest Ganon fight of them all because he picked up silvers in that last chest before Moldorm. My God, can you imagine if Chops would have gotten it
as well? So, if Chops had gone it, he may have won it, or at least it would have been extremely close. It's just the first homecoming. I thought how that's randomized in the credits. Now we have some sweet boss music yet again.
And all three of these guys on Ganon effectively at the same time. This was everything that an elimination match to get into the playoff should be.
It had everything we had. It had gambles and close calls, but now Chops is completed. He has an official time of 1 hour, 56 minutes, and 27 seconds. Congratulations to him as well. Also, I like how my co-commentator is like, "You are coming in too, Chops," in the text chat.
I'm not giving him a choice. No.
No, no one. These racers, one of them has to come in. Oh no. Hacksaww forgot to turn silvers on. At least for a moment there, but now it's all good. Unfortunately, Ganon is not a vampire, and regular wood will not affect him.
And joining us right now is both our winner, SirBeaterofArse, followed closely by ChopsDizel. GG, both of you.
Yes,
thanks.
That was incredible.
GG, Chops. What a close
think we
finish
might
that
have
was.
Hacksaww shortly as well, because they just completed with a time of 1 hour, 57 minutes, and 26 seconds.
That is crazy close for all three of us.
Yeah, so because I have the two of you in here right now, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Guess where silvers were?
They were
Ganon's
against
tower,
Tower.
right?
But
Oh,
guess
they were
where in
the
the
right side,
tower?
weren't they?
No, they were the chest just before Moldorm.
The magic refill room.
Oh, son of a gun.
Still,
Dang
we
it.
got to see a couple silver sites, so there's
Yeah.
that.
Oh, yeah, my hands are just shaking. During
I
that
imagine.
that room with the lamps or the four torches. Oh God.
Yeah, we witnessed that. We're like, oh no.
That
Yeah.
was, Chops, that was actually the point that SirBeater passed you. You were in the lead up until that point in time.
Yeah, you
Oh,
did
and I
have
hate
a
to
high
tell
five,
you.
basically.
Yeah.
Wow. I know.
Then
I
you
was
had sync
working hard
on
the whole way up the
Moldorm.
tower.
Yeah, if I didn't fall to Moldorm 5 times, I probably would have done a little better.
Ah, yes, Trolldorm. He never forgives.
Oh
That's a-
man.
That's all right. Going up Hera, I forgot that I had the hook shot, so I tried to do the bomb jump, and I screwed it up to get to the big chest, and I fell there. So I feel your pain on the falling in Hera.
So pretty much the universal wait until go mode item was flippers on bombos. That seemed to be a kind of trolley location for all of you guys.
Well, it's V26, so I just assumed that they weren't possibly going to be in an overworld location. So I was just like, okay, Turtle Rock always has an important item every time. So I was like, all right, they're definitely going there as soon as I can. And then that was really disappointing. And I was really nervous at that point. I thought I was going to be in big trouble and quite far behind. I figured one of the other two would have done the overworld checks for the dwarf and that whole path.
But I believe Hacksaww will be joining us in a moment as well for the rare and dangerous triple interview.
It's okay if it's a three-way, guys. It's really.
Yes.
It's a golden rule.
And here we go with Hacksaww as well joining us. GG.
Yes,
I just
GG,
wanted to
that
let
was
you know.
exciting.
GG, Hacksaww.
GG, guys.
So here's what I'm going to say. Right up until the absolute very end, I'm going to be completely honest, SirBeater, I thought you were in last place. Your execution from about Turtle Rock, I mean, you already cleared out Turtle Rock, so you just blazed through. You passed Hacksaww through Turtle Rock while Hacksaww was going through Turtle Rock. And then through Ganon's Tower, you passed Chops with your execution there. It really came down to an execution run at the very end, and your execution just outlasted everyone. So, GG to you, sir.
I guess I played good nervous for a change because I was definitely panicking the whole way up.
I have a feeling all three of you were panicking.
Yeah, I kept looking over to SRL, and I'm just like, oh, I gotta do Silver Ganon. Don't look until I'm done. And then I saw I lost, but that's okay.
Yeah, at one point during the race, I saw Amatsu dropped out of the SRL chat, and I just saw it out of the corner of my eye pop open, and I was like, oh my god, somebody finished. And then I looked over, and just like, oh, it was a disconnect. Woo!
Sorry that my connection is bad and spooked you a little. But all three of you massively route diverged the entire run. Like, I think there was one point where two of you high-fived, and that was it. It was rare to see two of you in the same dungeon, and it wasn't until like Turtle Rock where you were all in the same dungeon at the same time.
Did somebody do pod early?
Yeah.
I felt like I did it kind of early. I don't know if
who went to pod first. I can't remember.
Actually, I think it was Hacksaww that went into pod first, but he was missing some other item, like he didn't go doing something else that everyone else had done. So it was, and that's kind of what Amatsu was leading it. Like none of you guys, it was, you could go into multiple locations. All three of you were in 3 different dungeons almost the entire race, and we were just panicking the entire time here.
Sounds like this should be a good VOD to watch back then.
Oh, yeah. All three of you have to watch it.
Well, I watch all my races, so I'll definitely watch.
Oh yeah,
I got really lucky. I just noticed Raspberry said that Hacksaww didn't go to the back of Escape, so he didn't have the book. I got really lucky because I did that early and went to. I was thinking to go immediately to Desert, but not. I kind of forgot that I didn't have the power gloves, so them being vanilla really saved my butt there.
Yeah, the gloves being in both Eastern and Desert just kind of boom boom, and you found them in 2 different locations. We were just wondering when you guys were going to swap at some point in time. It was just
and it took
nuts.
a while. But wow.
Yeah, I was putting off Eastern and then got the bow, and then I was thinking, all right, let's do Eastern and I'll dip into Pod even though it's a pendant early. And I fluted over there and went to the Dark World and then menued and then went, oh, I'm missing a very key item to be able to do these back to back.
And Hacksaww, I think you were also the first with flippers, if I remember right.
Yeah, like it's just I've never seen route divergence throughout the entire race like that. Usually, like a little ways in, they're kind of doing the same actions usually in a race, but this one, all of you were in unique locations the entire time, basically, and it was incredible to witness. And a little hard to commentate on, unfortunately, but it happens.
I'm sure you guys did great.
Like, I think we had like a minute of just dead air there for a little bit because we were just kind of processing everything you were doing. But,
I can imagine it'd be hard enough following 2 people instead of 3. Don't know who's got what, where they've been.
So one of the interesting things that I saw, and Chops, this is kind of out to you in this case. I think you were the only one that didn't fake flipper up into Zora. So you had no idea where the ice rod was. I think both Hacksaww and SirBeater knew exactly where that ice rod was the entire time. So they were go-moding, not quite go-moding, but bypassing a lot of chests earlier. And then you finally went up there and we were like, yes, he finally knows what's going on.
the mystery is solved.
Yeah, I mean, I know how to fake flipper, but I don't have it timed perfectly. So I've only done it 2 or 3 times. So I didn't want to waste time on trying to do it. So I just...
It's rare that pays off anymore, even because even though there's a bunch of chests up there, it never seems like anything good comes out of there until that it does.
Sometimes D26 likes to make you think you're on a different version.
Yeah, definitely.
And then Hacksaww was the only one to check the last, not validation chest, but the one just before Moldorm for silvers. I mean, can you imagine?
Yeah. Son of a gun.
I imagine when you seen Ganon go, did you find the arrows in my tower? It must have been a little frustrating to realize that you might just walk right past it.
Yeah, once I got that far up the tower, I didn't even think about thinking. I'm like, I'm doing silverless, whatever. I mean, I'm assuming they were in chest, I don't know, 6 through 25 or whatever, somewhere down deep, left side, right side, behind the Armos Knights. Who knows? So I just skipped all that stuff. I did open the validation chest though.
Well, without opening that, the run is not valid.
I know, right?
We did find the single arrow somewhere, right? I remember seeing it.
I think all of you found it.
Well, that's good. This counts.
Yeah, the run counts. It's official.
So I just figured out I've been using the wrong push-to-talk key.
Oh, no.
Oh, I was wondering why I had Hacksaww.
GG, guys.
GG.
Did you have anything insightful that you'd like to try and tell us again?
Yeah, I checked the back of Escape earlier than an hour into the run.
My first ever rando, it took me so long to check Escape as well. Not a lot of people realize that there can be good stuff there.
I know better. I can't remember what I had at that point, but I was like, oh, I think I got the hook shot, and I was like, oh, yay, Death Mountain, and just went right forward or something. Or it might have been the Hammer Gloves combo to go to Dark World. I think that's what it was.
Yeah, I think you went Dark World a lot earlier than the other folks. And like I said, you got a lot of the key items. It was just, if we have to, I don't think I can really point to any one thing. The closest thing I can think of is Leaving Desert kind of available, but it didn't waste that much time.
Yeah, but Desert led to the Titan's Mid and the Flute. I mean, it's like fast movement and fast Dark World. That was it. I mean, if I had that, shoot, I would have gone a completely different route.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. This is just, I mean, keep in mind, Chops, you finished less than 2 minutes after SirBeater. Hacksaww, you finished less than 1 minute after Chops. Just absolutely insane how close this three-way was. And again, it was completely different routing from every single one of you. That's what we love about Rando.
This has been such a good group, and we've been pretty even most of the way through it. So it's not surprising that it was this close, but I can't wait to watch back the VOD.
Oh, it is going to be I might even watch it, and I was commentating the race.
I'm definitely gonna have to watch this.
But yes, GG to all 3 runners. That was an incredible race to watch. And exception, and most all, GD to you, SirBeaterofArse. You are moving on to the bracket stage.
Thank you, thank you.
Group P represent.
Yeah,
Please win the tournament for Group P.
Yes, go out there and represent
One of us
Group
has
P
to
well.
win.
Forget that there's somebody else from Group P in the channel. Just come on, SirBeater. Let's do it.
No pressure.
Yeah, someone that crushed all of us.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll let her
Pretty
in.
badly, if I remember, too.
Yeah, she beat us pretty bad.
But yes.
well, before we wrap things up too much, I do want to say we still have lots of rando going on right now as we're going. For example, we have over on the main race, High Cutie Pie versus Big Dunka going on Speed Gaming, the original. Also, LT Gray versus Fields on Speed Gaming 2 going on right now. And another match, Kyong versus I Am the Schwartz on Speed Gaming at 11 Eastern. We also have one more 3-way tiebreaker race going on either this channel here, Randomizer Mania, or Randomizer Mania 2. And this looks to be a Group D triple fight between JTB, Smite, and Suns Out, Guns Out 5. That's going on at 10 o'clock, so here in about 10 minutes. So we got to kind of get things wrapped up here before
So it's
too
gonna be on
long.
this channel for sure, then?
It is this channel, Felix. Awesome.
Awesome. Definitely going to stick around to watch that one.
But
Oh, yeah.
in order to wrap things up, thank you to our runners and our excellent restreamer and tracker. But also thanks to everyone who's watching, because if you weren't watching, there probably wouldn't be as much incentive to do all these races live like this.
Yeah, this is so much fun, and the more people watching it just makes it more fun, and the community for this game is just so great. All the people donating time to organize it, all of the admins, all of the people that do commentary, tracking, and restreaming. This is a great community.
Yeah, I definitely second that. Shout outs to the commentators, the restreamers, the trackers, the Feasels, the admins, everybody putting this together. It's a great stuff. I mean,
Feasels. Did we clone Feasel now?
Okay, we might have cloned Feasel, I'm not sure, but
That's
Feasel.
the only way he can do all the stuff that he does is he has to be cloned.
It's got to be. That's all I can figure out. I mean, there's got to be like 5 of them sitting in a basement somewhere.
I figured he just made a pact with Satan or something to have all that mad skills at restreaming.
It might be too. I don't know, but he's good at what he does.
But yes. I had a bit of a brain fart there. My brain just went completely blank.
Well, that's all right. We're going to go ahead and get out of here and let the
Yes.
restreamers get set up here for this next awesome 3-way tiebreaker match. Signing off here for Randomizer Mania. My name is Vatasia.
And I'm Amatsu DF. If you liked what you've seen from these runners, be sure to follow them. And if you liked hearing us talk, well, you can follow us commentators as well.
And shout out to all you guys in Group P. Thank you so much for letting me join you guys.
Group P hype.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Hey, thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
No
all right.
problem.
Have a great one, everyone.
Yes, have a wonderful evening and stay tuned for the next race.